Let's be honest. Every one of us, car enthusiasts, boys and girls, don't want a patriotic alliance coming to me for not saying the word girls, have once searched for a car that you either could not afford or looked at something that you thought, hey, this might be a project I can take on and maybe either flip it, make some money, or build it at the bargain. But what if I had to tell you, sometimes buying the more expensive car is actually cheaper in the long run. So for example, if we have to search BMW E46 M3 for sale, let's see what comes up. Now, but nonetheless, if we look here at cars.co.za, we have one for 699,000. Has 180,000 kilometers on it. So it looks like they're all in the 600s. Some have for 800. This mileage here. Okay. Oh, here's a CSL for 2.25 million. Now, you're looking at these prices and you're most probably wondering, is this car worth it? We're not going to get into that debate, whether an E46 is worth 800,000. So, in all fairness, I'm going to prove to you that my philosophy of buying a car for 600,000 or 700,000 with provisions, and the provisions will be explained later, might be cheaper in the long run. So behind me we have an E46 M3 that came in for a 1 week's worth of restoration. We've done pretty much the basics as to what we needed to do in terms of making the car drivable from a driving standpoint, as well as aesthetically making it look pleasing. So some of the stuff that we have done, we've changed out the bearings. I'll put a clip of how it was. I think I did a TikTok video. I'll put that in here now. We've changed out the suspension. So we've done sway bar links, thyroid ends, but that's not yet in. We've cleaned up the engine, the fender wells. We've done it on the rear as well. We've given the diff a service as well on the rear. We've changed out the tail lamps here because these were broken, so aesthetically it looks good. We're going to be replacing this window rubber here, and we're going to be replacing the rubber that goes here. We've cleaned up the engine bay, tidied it up, neatened it, gave the wheels a full decontamination, as well as cleaned up that there. We've done a complete service, oil filter, air filter, pollen filter. We've changed the belt, we've changed the pulleys. In doing the bearings, we've done the sump gasket as well. We've done new engine mounts, gearbox mounts, serviced the gearbox, etc. So now, if I had to tell you this car came with complete service history, you would imagine, why are we still doing this? And here we go. Here's the service history for the M3. A complete service history from the day it was born. So it has its birth certificate, everything. So if we look on here, there's multiple invoices from the time this car was purchased to the total that has been spent on the car. You know, now the big question is, Afzal, why did we do all of these things? It's because this guy is a 2021 model, so it's almost 25 years old. And that being said, when I went through the service history, a lot of the engine stuff was not done, like the bearings was not done because the mileage wasn't yet supposedly at where it needed to be in terms of the bearings. And then, so now let's analyze the bearings. This guy has approximately 110, 120,000 kilometers. Or let's call it 130. I didn't check the speedo. Let's analyze the bearings, considering this car has all its services done. Whether the correct oil was used, I'm not too sure, but we're going to assume the correct oil was used. I'm going to use my trusty Rupe's torch, but I think it's causing a bit too much glare. Let's start on cylinder 1. So generally, if you had an oil pump failure or a failing oil pump, these two here would be the where we would potentially see where 5 and 6, because it's the furthest away from the bearings. Let's start on cylinder number 1. We can see the uppers were starting to wear a little bit. If we check there, lowers also had a bit of wear on terms of the coating, but not drastic. You can see these lines in the bearings like this here. Just generally is signs of contamination in the oil, so like maybe dirt or dust or something like that there. But it's across all the cylinders, which, yeah, it can be the case. Cylinder number 2, consistent with cylinder number 1, top and bottom. 3 is where we're starting to see some copper come out on the upper. 4, also, we're starting to see some copper come, so we caught this one early. This was caught very early. I think any more longer we could have potentially run a bearing on 3 and 4. The wear on the bottoms are consistent, even like in terms of the markings, where they are markings, generally on the top. The middle of the crank, not so much. This is just air bubbles in the tape. At the bottom, yeah, you can see the wear there, you can see the wear there. So 6 did have a bit of burn, but 3 and 4 definitely got hot. 5, not so much on the top, not so much at the bottom. 6 along the edge. Yeah. But you can see the coating was still there. So these bearings held up pretty well from new. But here we can, yeah, 3 and 4, yes. Any more longer, 3 and 4 would have spun. 3 and 4 would have spun. Yeah, that's the bearing analysis. The engine mount was not done, the gearbox mount was not done, a lot of the suspension was not done. So to the owner's surprise, who bought the car, it's now his turn to do it. So you'll see. So this is a quotation from BMW. And you'll have a look and you'll see. Shock absorbers. All of these amounts are excluding VAT. So 5,000 Rand for shock absorbers. Then you have the guide supports, which is 1,200 Rand. Some of their descriptions at BMW is totally whacked. You have the wishbones front and right. Front right and left. That's about another 6,000 Rand. We have brake pads, discs. Check the price of discs. 9,700 Rand. And then the rears, I think, is 6,300 Rand. So the discs, so that's 10, 20. Yes, there's 32,000 Rand just for discs. 32,000 Rand just for discs. And if I have to add up the shocks add up to another, yeah, close to 30,000. It's 11,000 Rand a shock in the front. We haven't yet got to it, but anyway. Then we have some precautionary items here. Coolant pump, 5,000 Rand. Here's another shock absorber. I don't know how. Let's see. Go there. So this must be the water pump gasket. Let's see the big items. Oil pump, 10,300. this intake silent. No, this here we can take out. That's actually wrong. The headlight glass 1,700 rand. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's page number 1. No, wait. There's some other stuff here. Gearbox rubbers, gearbox oil. Yeah. But, just to reiterate, a little bit of suspension work to refresh the suspension. It's 25 years old. Engine mounts, gearbox mounts, bearings, oil pump, chain, tensioner belt. I'm just trying to recall. Brake pads, discs, all of that there. Take a guess. The total, including that, minus about 10,000. So let's just minus 10,000 because there was one item that was incorrectly stated on there. That is the total. 208,000 rand. Now, given the E46 M3s, the asking prices is between 700,000-800,000 rand. Is it actually worth it to buy one with 700,000-800,000 rand if we have to still spend another 200,000? Now I know some of the keyboard warriors out there will say they get 500% discount at BMW and they know this and they know that and whatever like that there. Leave that story out of this. Take that out. You need to incur an additional 200,000 rand on a car to practically make it drive the way an E46 M3 should drive. Driving a car with bad shock mounts and bad engine mounts and duff mounts and all of that there just doesn't add to the drivability of the car. And sometimes you have a fading interior on the inside. So, the moral of this story is that when you look at the service history, don't just look at the oil changes, don't just look at when the brake fluids was done. Big ticket items now on an E46 M3, brake discs, shocks, rubber mounts, the bearings. Those are the items that you need to take cognizance of. So what that means is that you need to actually look at the service history in detail. If something has a partial service history, stay the hell away from it because you will be in for that cost. Now, what would I say is a good price to buy an E46 M3 for? In the region, if you buy one in the region of 200,000 rand and spend another 200,000 rand on it, it's 400,000, provided the body is clean. If the body is not clean, you'll add another 100,000 to that. But is it worth it? It's not a discussion for now. But what I'm saying is that you need to know what to look out for in terms of the service items that actually needed to be done before you buy a car for 800,000 rand. Don't put your hands inside. So with that being said, if you find one in the region of 700,000, 800,000, and all the bushes was done, all the suspension work was done, and on top of that, bearings was done, the paintwork is clean, and the interior is exceptionally clean, then you can minus 200,000. So let's call it 800,000 rand purchase, minus 200,000, that's 600,000 for the maintenance work. There's still about labor there. I think labor would cost you another 50-60,000 rand in labor. So call it 50, so minus another 50 of there, so that's 650. Interior is clean, so you don't need to either re-dye or reupholster the interior. Take away another 30,000 there. And then paintwork, if it's immaculate, take another, I would say another 100 from there. No panel beating, something. So in essence, an 800,000 rand car would And if you less all the work that needs to be done, would come out to in the region of, I would guesstimate, my maths, I don't have a calculator in front of me, but I would guesstimate it to be about 300,000 down. So you're actually paying 500,000 rand for it. So in essence, if you're buying a car for 500,000 and it's not in that great condition, you still need to spend another 200,000 rand on it, or 300,000. It will come out to 800,000. But if you're buying the same car for 800,000 and none of that work is still intact, and rather take your money, buy a F80 M3 or an E92 M3, because that would be better value for money. You can cut that clip now. Press. You're supposed to press stop.